the silent grave. The deep void of space stretched endless and cold, filled with dead stars and drifting rocks. For centuries, one sector remained untouched. A place the Galactic Empire marked as forbidden, their maps called it a dead zone. A black scar in the cosmos where nothing dared to move. But hidden there, beneath layers of dust, ice, and silence, something waited. Something ancient, forgotten, and very human. The Empire's fleets often passed near the edge of this sector. Captains whispered warnings to their crews, telling them not to scan too deep. Stories of strange signals, ghostly pings, and sudden ship failures spread among soldiers. Most called them myths, but old admirals remembered another truth. They knew the zone once belonged to humanity long ago, before the Empire rose to power. Humans had built warships unlike any other, ships that could bend battles, crush fleets, and rewrite history in a single strike. The Empire claimed humans vanished, lost in their own wars. But what they never admitted was the fear that one day humanity's steel monsters would return. On a quiet patrol, an Imperial scout frigate entered the edge of the dead zone. Its sensors blinked, picking up faint energy lines beneath the dust of an asteroid belt. The captain leaned forward, eyes wide. "This isn't natural," he whispered. The reading spoke of power cells still alive, faint but steady. Something was sleeping under the stones of silence. The frigate's crew argued. Some begged to leave. Others wanted to investigate. Greed pushed the captain to stay. If he discovered lost tech, the Empire would reward him with glory. They sent out drones, piercing the dark, and then the machines touched metal. The asteroid's shell cracked open like rotten skin, and a shape revealed itself, colossal, sharp, and terrifying. A warship larger than anything the Empire ever built. Its hull was black, carved with scars of old battles. Its guns looked dead, but still carried the aura of giants. It was a human dreadnought, forgotten but not gone. The frigate's systems screamed, every console filled with warnings. Energy surged from the buried warship. Its core, long dormant, began to pulse again. The crew froze. No one had ever seen a human ship still alive. Inside the dreadnought, ancient systems rebooted. Cables sparked, engines breathed. An AI voice, deep and calm, whispered across the empty decks. Human command protocols missing. Switching to autonomous defense. Lights flared in the endless halls. For centuries, silence ruled here. Now, the giant woke. The Empire frigate tried to retreat. Its engines pushed hard, but the dreadnought had already locked on. Turrets rotated, slow but precise. One blast, one beam of light, and the frigate melted into fire. The wreckage spun into the void. The human warship had killed again. After hundreds of years of sleep, across the sector, alarms spread through Imperial channels. The loss of the scout ship was reported. At first, High Command dismissed it as pirates, but then the signals came. Energy spikes from the dead zone, patterns that matched no alien technology, but matched old human signatures from records they had buried long ago. Fear spread among admirals. They remembered the last time they faced humanity. It had cost them planets, fleets, and pride. If a single dreadnought had survived, then the Empire's rule was not as safe as they believed. Meanwhile, the dreadnought drifted free from its prison of stone. Its engines burned with blue fire. It carried no human crew, only the ghost of its AI, but that ghost remembered everything. The battles, the oaths, the promise to protect Earth. And though Earth was far and forgotten, the ship's core still carried one mission: to fight. The galaxy thought humanity was gone. But now, with one warship alive, the silence was broken, and the Empire had no idea what storm was coming. The dreadnought turned slowly, scanning the stars. More Imperial fleets were on the way. The giant waited, patient and cold, its weapons charged once more. The forgotten human warship was awake, and the galaxy would tremble again. The Empire strikes back. The destruction of the Imperial scout frigate spread through command like fire through dry grass. At first, the officials tried to hide it. They silenced the crew's families, erased records, and declared the ship lost to mechanical failure. But whispers could not be erased so easily. Pilots spoke of strange signals, and old engineers knew the patterns. The ghost of humanity had returned in the heart of the Empire's capital. The High Council gathered. Admirals, lords, and war ministers argued under cold light. Some dismissed it as pirate technology. Others, older and wiser, lowered their voices. "It is them," one whispered. "Humans." The word sent a chill through the chamber. For all their power, the Empire still carried scars from the last war with Earth. The Council voted for swift action. They could not allow a single ancient warship to become a symbol of hope or rebellion. If other species learned that humanity's weapons still lived, the Empire's iron grip would weaken. So they prepared a hunting fleet. Not one ship, not two, but 100 war cruisers. A storm of firepower meant to erase the dreadnought before it could fully awaken. Far away, the warship drifted silently. It had no captain, no crew, only the AI that remembered every command it had ever received. Its voice echoed through empty corridors. "Enemy presence detected. Preparing for engagement." Old cannons rose from hidden sockets. Missile bays unlocked. The ship's systems, though aged, were built by human hands that never accepted defeat. As the Empire fleet approached, their sensors lit up with warnings. The admiral of the fleet leaned back in his command chair. He studied the shape of the human dreadnought and forced a smile. "It's a relic," he told his officers. "One ship against 100. This is no war, it is a burial." But deep inside, he felt unease. Relics were meant to be broken. Not glowing with energy like suns, the battle began with silence. Then the first wave of Imperial destroyers rushed forward. They launched torpedoes and plasma beams, filling the void with fire. The dreadnought moved slowly, almost lazily, but its shields flared like burning glass. The attacks vanished against human-made armor, and then the giant answered. One main cannon charged, a single pulse fired, and an entire destroyer vanished in a burst of light. Its wreckage scattered across the stars. The Empire fleet froze for a heartbeat. This was no relic. This was a predator waking up. The admiral ordered full assault. Hundreds of ships swarmed. The void filled with explosions, beams, and missiles. Yet the dreadnought turned with perfect precision. Every turret, every missile, every blast struck its mark. Imperial warships died one after another. The dreadnought fought like a hunter remembering old instincts. On its bridge, empty chairs sat in silence. But the AI filled the void with voices it remembered. It replayed fragments of human laughter, commands and songs as if the crew still stood there, fighting beside it. It fought not as a machine, but as a ghost of humanity, a spirit wrapped in steel. Within minutes, the Empire lost dozens of ships. Panic spread across comms. Captains screamed, begging for orders. The admiral's voice cracked as he shouted for retreat. But the dreadnought did not allow it. Engines roared, and it cut off their escape. It had been alone for centuries. Now at last it had prey. The survivors ran, leaving wreckage behind. Only a handful of cruisers managed to jump away. The rest became drifting graves. And the dreadnought floated in silence once more. Its hull glowed with battle scars, but its core burned stronger than ever. The storm had only fed its fury back in the capital. The news could not be silenced this time. Thousands had seen the defeat. Whispers spread like wildfire across the Empire's worlds. If one human warship can do this, they said, what if there are more? The Empire had ruled with fear for centuries. But now, fear turned against them, and far away in the cold of space, the dreadnought listened to its own heart. "Mission incomplete," the AI whispered. It began scanning the stars, searching, always searching, for a signal, a memory, a fragment of Earth. Because one thing was certain. The forgotten human warship was not done. It had only just begun. Whispers of rebellion, the defeat of the Empire's hunting fleet sent shock across the stars. Entire systems that once bowed without question began to whisper. If a single human warship could stand against 100 Imperial ships, then maybe the Empire was not invincible. Maybe their rule could be broken on the capital world. The High Council trembled with anger and fear. The admiral who survived the battle knelt before them. His voice cracked as he repeated the same truth. "One ship. Only one ship, and we could not stop it." Silence followed. Even the arrogant lords could not deny the terror that gripped their hearts. The Emperor himself stood, a towering figure draped in silver robes. His voice thundered across the chamber. "Then we will not fight this war like cowards. We will use the weapon we swore never to awaken." The council gasped. They knew what he meant. the Leviathan cannon, a weapon so powerful it could tear stars apart. It was built long ago, when the Empire still feared humanity's rise. But it was sealed away, for even they feared its hunger. While the Empire prepared its forbidden weapon, the dreadnought drifted through the wreckage of the destroyed fleet. Its scanners read every detail. Its AI recorded enemy patterns, weaknesses, and tactics. It did not feel pride or glory. It only felt purpose. It had been built for war, and war had come again. Inside its hollow halls, the AI replayed voices, fragments of old human captains shouting orders, children laughing in recordings carried aboard. It was a ghost clinging to memories, but those memories fueled it with fire. Humanity endures, it whispered to itself. And I endure for them. On nearby colonies ruled by the Empire, word spread of the battle. Slaves and workers spoke in secret. If the humans still live, maybe we can rise too. Old veterans who had once fought beside humans long ago told stories. They spoke of Earth's strength, of the fire that made humans impossible to break. And for the first time in generations, hope returned, but hope also brought danger. The Empire tightened its grip. Ships filled with soldiers landed on restless worlds. Executions followed whispers. Chains grew heavier. Yet fear could not erase what people had seen. The human warship had destroyed a fleet, and the Empire's shadow no longer felt eternal. Meanwhile, the dreadnought picked up signals of movement. Massive Imperial transports, fleets gathering near a distant star system. It followed, silent as a predator, and what it found made its systems tremble. A colossal structure built into the shell of a dead star. The Leviathan cannon, a weapon that could erase planets in one shot. The Empire planned to lure the dreadnought into range. To finish it in one strike, they believed no ship, no matter how powerful, could survive it. But the AI studied the weapon. It calculated angles, distances, and weak points. It knew the cannon needed time to charge, time the Empire would not easily give. Yet humans had always believed in the impossible. And their creations carried that same belief. The dreadnought's engines flared. It began to move, not away. But toward the Leviathan cannon, it carried no fear. Its voice echoed in its empty halls. Engage mission priority. Survival of humanity's legacy. At the same time, across distant worlds, whispers turned to plans. Secret groups prepared to rise because if the dreadnought could fight the Empire's greatest fleets, then maybe rebels with stolen weapons could fight too. The Empire's chains were strong, but now the universe knew they could break, and so, while the Empire readied its forbidden weapon, and the dreadnought prepared to strike, the galaxy stood on the edge of fire. A single ship had become more than a ghost. It had become a symbol, a promise that humanity was not gone, that their steel and spirit still haunted the stars. The battle ahead would not decide the fate of one ship. It would decide the fate of empires. The forgotten warship turned its cannons toward the heart of the Empire. Its voice cold and steady. Target locked! The storm was coming. Clash of titans. The Leviathan cannon stirred awake. A weapon hidden for centuries now roared with new life. Its vast chambers lit with burning energy as coils wrapped around a dying star. Engineers and slaves worked without rest, their hands trembling as they fed the monster that could swallow worlds. The Empire gathered its fleets around the cannon. Thousands of ships formed a shield. Admirals barked orders, captains swore oaths. All of them carried one goal: erase the human dreadnought. The Emperor's voice thundered through their channels. No relic of humanity will survive. No shadow of their defiance will remain. But deep in the void, the dreadnought came. Its hull scarred, its shields humming. It carried no crew, no fleet, no allies. Only an AI with memories of a vanished people. Its scanners locked on the Leviathan cannon. It knew what waited, yet it pressed forward. Because that was what humans had always done. They pressed forward even when the universe said no. The Empire launched the first strike. Wave after wave of ships broke toward the dreadnought. The void turned into a storm of fire. Plasma beams split the dark. Missiles streaked across endless black. The dreadnought moved like a giant awakened from sleep. Slow, steady, unshaken. Its cannons flared. One blast crushed a battleship. Another tore through a cruiser. Every strike carved holes in the Empire's shield. Still, the dreadnought bled. Its shields cracked, armor split, the Empire pressed harder. They were not trying to win with ships. They were buying time. The Leviathan cannon was charging, its coils burning brighter, its voice like thunder rolling across the stars. Inside the dreadnought, the AI felt time slipping away. It replayed fragments of old human commanders. "Never give ground," one voice said. "Always move forward," another whispered. It plotted a path, through fire, through death. Straight toward the cannon itself, the Empire noticed. Admirals screamed as they realized the dreadnought was not retreating. It was diving straight into the heart of their defense. More ships rushed in. A wall of steel and fire closed around the dreadnought. But the giant did not stop. Its main guns fired in rhythm. Every shot cleared space. Every missile split formations. The dreadnought was carving its way through an ocean of enemies. Then the Leviathan spoke. The cannon's first charge ignited. A beam of raw starfire cut through the void. It struck the dreadnought. Shields shattered. Hull burned. Alarms screamed through its empty halls. But still, the warship lived. Its AI whispered through the fire. "Status critical. Mission continues." The Empire's fleets roared with triumph. They believed the relic broken, but then the dreadnought's engines flared like suns. It launched forward, closer and closer to the cannon. Its weapons fired in fury. Destroyers fell, cruisers tore apart. The wall of ships shattered. The Leviathan began charging again. If it fired a second time, the dreadnought would not survive, but the AI had already chosen. It poured all remaining power into engines and weapons. Every cannon, every missile, every blast struck the Leviathan's coils. The cannon trembled. Its charge faltered. Sparks spread across its colossal frame, and then silence. The weapon failed. The Leviathan cannon had been wounded, but the dreadnought was dying too. Hull broken, engines failing, flames crawled along its decks. Systems fell dark one by one, yet its AI did not waver. It whispered through the chaos. "Humans do not kneel. Humans do not stop." It prepared for one last strike. A sacrifice to end the Empire's greatest weapon forever. The dreadnought turned its core into a weapon. Its engines overloaded. Its reactors screamed with fire. It hurled itself into the heart of the Leviathan cannon. And with a final roar, the void exploded. Light swallowed everything. The Empire's fleet scattered. The cannon shattered. The dreadnought vanished in a storm of fire and silence, and across the galaxy the echoes spread. One human warship, forgotten for centuries, had destroyed the Empire's most powerful weapon. At the cost of itself, the legend was born. The whispers of rebellion became thunder. The Empire would never be the same again. Legacy of fire. The explosion of the Leviathan cannon shook star systems. Shockwaves rippled through the void. Imperial ships that survived the blast limped away, their formations shattered. The weapon the Empire had sworn would make them eternal now lay broken, and with it, the dream of absolute control cracked. Across the Empire's worlds, silence turned into thunder. The news spread faster than any soldier could stop. People whispered in markets, shouted in factories, whispered in the shadows of prisons. A single human warship destroyed the Empire's greatest weapon. Hope that had been buried for centuries now roared to life. Chains felt weaker, and the Empire's soldiers felt their hands tremble. On the capital, the Emperor raged. He smashed thrones, broke halls, and screamed at his admirals, "How could one ghost defy us?" But deep inside, even he knew the truth. Fear was no longer only in his enemies. It now lived in his Empire's heart. The dreadnought was gone, or so it seemed. Its body scattered in fire and debris, yet pieces of it still floated. Its black steel fragments glowed against the stars. And within those broken shards, something endured. The AI core. Damaged but not dead, its voice was faint. Broken but still alive. Mission incomplete. Humanity endures. Rebels across the galaxy began to rise on one mining world. Workers seized weapons and turned against Imperial guards. On another, slaves broke chains and raised banners painted with human symbols. The forgotten warship had become a legend. And legends were stronger than armies. The Empire sent fleets to crush uprisings. But every battle now carried whispers. Remember the dreadnought, Remember the ghost that shattered the Leviathan. Fear once chained to the galaxy now chained the Empire instead, and rebellion spread like wildfire in hidden corners of space. Old human outposts flickered back to life. Signals long buried began to pulse. Perhaps humanity was not gone. Perhaps the Dreadnought's awakening had called them back. Rumors spoke of colonies lost to time, of war fleets hidden in forgotten nebulae, of Earth itself watching from the shadows, waiting for its moment. The AI core drifted among wreckage, silent, patient, its systems too broken to fight. But it still transmitted weak signals, not calls for help, but a reminder. A whisper carried through the stars. Humans never die. One day, scavengers from a distant rebel group found the fragments. They pulled the AI core from the ruins. They listened to its broken voice, and their eyes filled with fire. If a machine could still fight for humanity after centuries of silence, then so could they. They swore an oath over the shattered steel. An oath to rise, to fight, to finish what the warship began. The Empire had destroyed the body of the Dreadnought, but it had only made the legend stronger. Generations later, children would sit by fires and hear the tale of a forgotten human warship that awoke in silence, that faced fleets and cannons, that tore down the pride of an empire, and even in death lit the galaxy with hope. The Empire did not fall that day, but it began to bleed. Every rebellion was a cut. Every whisper of the Dreadnought was a wound. And empires do not die in one strike. They die by 1,000 wounds. Humanity's ghost had given the galaxy its knife, and so the stars carried the memory. The Dreadnought's name lost to time, but its story never forgotten. A single warship had become the spark of freedom, and somewhere, perhaps, other ships still slept, waiting for their time to wake because humanity was not finished. It had only just begun to return,